Okay, the scene set presents itself. The Sports Pavilion, Caesars Palace, Las Vegas, Nevada. Joe Louis, just introduced by ring announcer Chuck Hall. And the fighters have just come into the ring. Ron Lyle at 220, George Foreman at a deceptive 226. I say deceptive because he looks lithe and supple. With me to work this fight, Ken Norton, currently the #1 rated contender for the heavyweight crown. And in the meantime, Ken told you at the top of this telecast that what he wanted to see about George Foreman was whether or not he was mentally settled. No secret about it. Many have felt that Foreman's psyche was materially damaged by the disaster in Zaire of 15 months ago. As for Ron Lyle, question there will be he be able to get to Foreman? And yet, in the long run, many feel if Lyle can survive the first 5 rounds, he is the better bet to win the fight, Foreman's stamina having become suspect in the Zaire affair. Now let's talk about George Foreman. There's been talk of a change in his style since he's gotten the new manager trainer, the veteran and wise Gil Clancy. Can a fighter change his style this late in the game?
I feel that he can change it in the gym, but once he gets into the heat of battle and gets hit, he's very subject to go back to what he knows best.
Okay. We're going to be back. More talk with Ken in just one moment. All right, apparently we have just a few seconds left. And now the commercial is upcoming. Okay, we're back live at ringside, the Sports Pavilion, Caesars Palace. The fight about a minute away. George Foreman, former heavyweight champion, against Ron Lyle. Chuck Hall, the ring announcer, is now making his welcoming speech to a very good crowd, which has virtually filled the Sports Pavilion. Foreman's record, of course, 40 victories, just 1 defeat, the knockout by Ali in the 8th round in Zaire. Lyle with a record of 31. 3-1. He lost a TKO affair to Ali here in Las Vegas last May. Jerry Quarry beat him, and then Jimmy Young unexpectedly beat him in Hawaii. The referee just announced by ring announcer Chuck Hall is Charlie Roth. Remember when Charlie Roth was a light heavyweight contender? He's about 50 years now. That's the introduction of Ron Lyle.
Fighting out of Livermore, California, weighing 226 pounds, introducing George Foreman.
Okay, the ring introductions of the riders finished. Kenny Norton, sitting to my right, will be scoring this fight for us unofficially. We'll be bringing you up to date throughout the course of the fight on Kenny's scoring and, of course, his comments interspersed during the course of the fight. The referee then, Charlie Roth, age 50. Refereed around the Cincinnati and Pittsburgh area for a long number of years. Just look at this. The face of George Foreman and, for that matter, of Ron Lyle, each speaking for itself. Crossroads fight for each fighter. If Foreman is to come back and get another shot at the crown, he must win this fight. And it would help to win it impressively. As for Lyle, well, he couldn't beat Ali. He couldn't beat Quarry. If he's to continue, he'll be 34 years of age shortly. Foreman was just 27. He's got to win. A wild, almost amateurish right as Lyle came charging out. Foreman in the red trunks, Lyle in the white. Lagging his right leg behind him in the manner that Frazier did against Ali in the last 2 fights between those two. The effect of that is really to cut off the ring. Lyle is not a bad boxer, though he has a tendency to let the hand stay too low. as you can see. Fighters feeling each other out. Lyle showing foot movement. George stalking, lagging the back leg, but not yet connecting with a stiff left jab. He tried to get first one in, didn't get it through. The second got in. I must say, Kenny, George appears to be in much better condition than in that abortive thing in Toronto last May against the 5 fighters.
That's very true. He looks very good. He's using a very good jab. Very stiff, very
Lyle got in a good left. George's face went back. Lyle has never been afraid of anybody. He doesn't know the meaning of the word fear. You know the Lyle story. 7.5 years in Colorado State prison. Learned to fight there. And as I told you earlier, fought Ali here last May, and Ali scored an 11th round TKO. A good right by Lyle. A good right by Lyle, and he's got Foreman in trouble. He's got him in trouble. George staggering off the ropes, and Lyle all over him. A surprising trend of events. George looking over here to Gil Clancy, sitting right next to me for instructions. You see George in trouble. A late flurry by Lyle, staggering George, who comes wobbling really back toward his corner. We're not breaking for a commercial. The round, not only Ron Lyle's, but the punishment and the damage. Let's look at it in slow motion, Kenny.
Okay, here he goes, a very good right hand. Very good right hand by Lyle there. He set him up good with a jab, but he got a little excited at the end and couldn't really take care of him. As I said before, Howard, it shows that Lyle has no fear of Foreman, none at all.
No fear in Ron Lyle at all. Good punching power in either hand. Nothing wrong with Ron Lyle's left. As I said at the very top of the telecast, if Ron Lyle can do any one thing, he can punch. But I don't see any of the old Foreman confidence. The guy who knocked you out in the second round, Kenny. Where is he?
I feel he has the confidence. I feel that this round he must come out fighting and take over, be very dominant.
The voice of Kenny Norton at ringside with yours truly.
If he isn't dominant, pardon me, Howard, if he isn't dominant this round, then Lyle will get very confident and run away.
Lyle right at him, but again with a wild swing. George trying to move, bouncing on his toes. That's the first time George got in 2 good short left jabs, and that's what he must do. Well, Lyle with a good left. George fighting back now.
Howard, as you can see, Lyle is giving Foreman no respect, and he's pressing the action now.
That could be a mistake, Kenny.
It could be.
George is fighting back now.
He's fighting back, but Lyle's very aggressive there, and he's catching most of the punches with his glove.
See that right come around and land on Foreman. Foreman in the red trunks, Lyle in the white. And the advisors are yelling to Foreman, keep those hands up. Now Lyle is hurt. Now Lyle is hurt. Quickly, Foreman landed a left and a right and another left, and Lyle's in trouble. He's against the ropes trying to cover. Now let's see if George has learned what to do with an opponent against the ropes. Certain it is, he didn't know what to do in Zaire. Look at that left of Foreman's get in there. And it's a different Lyle now. He's a little shaky. The leg's just a little rubbery. Foreman is a tremendous puncher. No question about that. Ken Norton can attest to that. I told you we'd have a slugfest, and that's what we've got.
Very good counter right hand by Lyle there. Very good.
Active rounds. 2 very active rounds, and the crowd loving it. You heard Kenny say he came back with a good counter right. Lyle did. We'll be back. I want to check the timekeeper here. The official timekeeper is John Worth. George, will you check this? Because by my clock, that round was only 2 minutes. Well, everything happens in fights. We'll find out about it. Now, this fight is being scored on the 5-point must system. Mandatory 8 count. In Nevada, uniquely, they also allow for a standing 8 count, which is what you see in amateur boxing in the discretion of the referee. The fight is scored by 3 judges. The referee has no voice in the scoring. I am advised that our clock was wrong, that the round indeed went 3 minutes. There'll be no saving by the bell. Fighters, by the way, using 8-ounce gloves. New York and California require 10-ounce gloves. 8-ounce gloves, less padding, greater damage from the blows. More punishment, more knockdowns likely.
Howard, if you notice, Ron Lyle's over right hand is working very well on Foreman's left hand. His left hand is down, and Ron's going right over with an overhand right.
By the way, Ken Norton unofficially scored, of course, the first round for Lyle, the second round for George Foreman. I tell you, Kenny, Lyle must be careful. You're right about the use of the right. There it was again, over Foreman's left. But Foreman's jab is beginning to get to Lyle's head, and Foreman's power is so punishing that he can end the fight at any time.
That's very true, but he can't afford to let Foreman really get off. He's got to be more aggressive and kind of force the action. If he gets Foreman punching room and where he can utilize his power, then this is all in Foreman's favor.
Agreed. Lyle in the corner against the ropes.
But then again, Howard, I think Lyle is playing possum here. He's trying to wait for Foreman through a right hand.
Lyle just threw a good right hand, Kenny. Gil Clancy screaming, hook to the body, George. Hook to the body. George just tried to hook to the body in response to Clancy's exhortations, but he didn't get through Lyle's guard.
Howard, Foreman is pawing, looking for the one big shot there, and Lyle's trying to counter.
Less than 20 seconds left, and this the third round. Foreman the red trunks, Lyle the white. Lyle with a very good counter right. The right has been Lyle's best weapon against Foreman thus far in the fight. Approaching the end of the round. We're back for the start of round 4 in what has been a very active fight thus far. The first round, Lyle staggered Foreman. Had him rubbery leg. Foreman retreated. The second round, George coming back fighting. George now looking over to Gil Clancy right next to me. Getting instructions from Gil. If Gil is anything, he's a teacher. Master's degree in recreation. He's been teaching all his life. Whether boxers, kids playing in the playground, or a good right by Lyle. Kenny, you're right. He's been using that right beautifully over Foreman's left.
That is very effective. And Howard, we just found out for sure that the second round was only 2 minutes long.
That's correct. Chet Forty, our producer, retimed the second round in our truck. Lyle all over him. Lyle has Foreman in trouble. Foreman is down. It started with a right, then a left. Foreman looking over here. Lyle to the neutral corner. The mandatory 8 count. Foreman trying to hold together, trying to keep his senses. Lyle putting on a tremendous demonstration. Now trying to move in on Foreman and end it. Remember how invincible George Foreman looked through 40 bouts. The man who knocked out Frazier in the second round to win the title. the man who knocked out Ken Norton, the man next to me in Caracas, Venezuela, in the second round. What's happened to him? Well, in the 15 months since Zaire, he's been relatively inactive, except for that charade in Toronto against the frightful Bod. Now Foreman fighting back. Oh, Foreman is in trouble. Lyle caught him with a good left. Now George, now George struck back. Now George fought back with a magnificent right. George fought back. Lyle let himself open for that.
He got overly aggressive there. He was very excited, and Foreman was throwing hard desperation punches.
A minute to go in a wild fight, just as Lyle apparently had George in trouble. George with that punching power that we talked about in prior fights. Lyle is now ready to go against the ropes. About 40 seconds left in the round. Lyle covering up against the ropes. His handler screaming to Foreman, hit him in the body. George at the head. Lyle is now wide open. Lyle trying to swing back. This isn't artistic, but it is slugging the way the public wants it. Lyle now trying to fight back. Only 10 seconds left in the round. Now Foreman was staggered. Foreman was staggered by a Lyle left. Foreman goes down. Foreman goes down. Lyle fights back. Foreman, there's no saving by the bell, but Foreman is up. Foreman is up. What a fight, Kenny.
Well, this is a slugger's fest here. Both men are leaving themselves wide open.
As Kenny said, both fighters leave themselves wide open. Call it over the slow-mo, Kenny.
Here we go right now. Both fighters leaving themselves wide open. They're both relying totally on power here. George is using his strength. He was hurt. He comes back and he staggers Lyle. Foreman goes down here with a very good Lyle punch. They're both working very hard. And they're both utilizing their power and forgetting boxing.
As I said, I would hardly call this an artistic affair, but at the very beginning we told you we looked for a slugfest. And most people, remembering George's absence of stamina at Zaire, had the feeling if Lyle could get past the 5th round, his chances would materially improve.
That's very true, and Lyle has been known to come on in the later rounds. He's very good, his stamina is very good, his punching power is good. And so now the question is if George can recover and continue on here in the later rounds.
Kenny Norton at ringside with Howard Cosell. 5th round action underway.
Howard, from here on in, I think it's going to be a match of power and a match of stamina. I think Lyle has the mental edge right here.
The two men both seem wary already, and who could blame them the way they've been punching and with the damage they've each been rendering. A good left by Lyle. Foreman holding on.
Here we go, Howard.
Staggering all over the ring. Lyle against the ropes, throwing the left uppercut. Foreman in trouble again. No bounce in the legs.
Foreman's in bad trouble now, and Lyle's trying to execute with a hook. And Foreman's hands are down, if you notice, which is very good for Lyle's hook and overhand right.
Foreman looking over here at Clancy for advice, and yet he doesn't even seem to be with it. Kenny made the point that George's hands are down, and so they are. George is falling forward over Lyle, trying to hit back.
This is really a heavyweight fight, Howard. It's total guts here and power.
George got a series of left jabs in there, then a right.
And they both exchange right hands, Howard, right there.
Good right uppercut by Lyle. Foreman again in trouble. You see him falling forward onto Lyle. Now it's Lyle. Now it's Lyle. What an incredible fight. Utterly without boxing skills. Just punching away. Each fighter in turn leaving himself open.
and Lyle's waiting just a little too long. They're both fighting. Foreman. Lyle's got to come back with
Now
one
it's
down.
Lyle down to the canvas. Foreman punching him again and again and again when it looked like George was done. This time it may be over. This time it may be over.
Lyle's not going to make it, Howard. He's not going to make it.
A knockout in the 5th round by George Foreman when it seemed Lyle had command of this ever-changing bout. The ebb and flow of the action almost unbelievable. First one, then the other. Foreman floored twice. Foreman floored twice in the 4th round, coming back to win. And in just a moment, we'll be back. I'm going up into the ring to talk with George Foreman. We're back at ringside with the winner in a 5th round knockout of Ron Lyle, George Foreman, in one of the wildest, most topsy-turvy scraps we have ever seen. A, George, congratulations. B, when you went down for the 2nd time in the 4th round, did you begin to think it was all over for you?
It was all courtesy due to ABC. Being the last time I was on, they said it was not too serious, so this was really a serious bout. I was off, I was rusty, and this is what happened to you when you stay out of boxing. You get knocked down, but I feel I'm a champion at heart. I can always get up and win fights. I think that all credit should be given to Ron Lyle because he's a tremendous individual. He took some hard punches and he gave some.
He sure did. All right, let's take a look at the action and you describe it, George.
Well, I think that right now I'm concentrating on doing with him what he's been doing to me, hitting me with very good punches. And Gil Clancy, every time I look over, he never did lose faith in me. So I thought, well, why should I lose faith? I got knocked down, and I said to myself, this is dirty, low down, low life, good, hard-hitting young man.
He used his right very effectively. Don't you agree, Gil?
Yeah,
Lyle did.
Yes, he did, yes. There's no doubt Ron Lyle's a tremendous fighter, and I think that the picture's nowhere near through with Ron Lyle. He should be back in there fighting for the title, and I think that he can win on a given night also. I'm rusty, but I'm following some advice that was given to me by Kid Rapidash and Gil Clancy. I had a hard fight, and I credit for great conditioning the reason I won, because I've been out for a long time.
Weren't you hurt there by Lyle, Justin?
Well, you know, I'm rusty, and I'm going to be hurt by a lot of things. Even when he slapped me, it hurt. So right now, I'm getting George Foreman together. I'm never going to give up. I'll die before I give up.
That's right, the heart of a lion.
The heart of a lion. The next time I fight, heart of a lion will be written on my robe.
Right there, he seemed to have had you again. I don't really know where you got the reserve strength back to pummel him.
To Kid Rapidash and Gil Clancy, and of course, the great years that Dick Sallow spent with me. He put some great ammunition in there also. So the left jab. The left jab is
started to come back. His face snapped back.
The left jab is a throwback to the 1968 Olympics.
Against Iona Shapulis.
That's right. First introduction to the great Howard Cosell.
Look at that, the left and then the right by Lyle. Gil, you were sitting right next to me, and I heard you say, Gil Clancy, it's all over. You thought it was over for your own fighter, but you never let your fighter know it. True or not true?
Then I turned around to you and said, who's in trouble now? Ron Lyle.
That's right. Here it comes.
Even when I got knocked down, Gil started smiling at us and say, just keep moving to the right. So he's been preaching and fighting.
Now watch, here it comes, George.
Yeah. So I decided no giving up. If I got him going, Bill Cosby had told me earlier, keep going. You don't want to hear none of this stuff.
That was it. That right was the final blow.
There's no substitute for action in the ring, whether you're a piano player or a boxer. You got to have action, and that's a sure display of rust.
Thank you, George, and congratulations. George Foreman. We'll be back to talk with Ron Lyle in just one moment. Back at the Sports Pavilion, Caesars Palace, Las Vegas, Nevada. Another preliminary fight. This time it'll be totally anticlimactic, believe me, about to take place, involving Ronnie Harris, a gold medal winner at Mexico City in '68. Ron Lyle is staying in his dressing room. He's understandably not in the mood to be on the air right now. We'll be back later in the show, before it ends, to recap the incredible action that took place here today and let you see again that 5th round when Lyle apparently had Foreman, but in the end it was George Foreman who had Ron Lyle, knocked him out. Again, we'll be back. Now let's go to Warner Wolf in New York. Very good, Howard. to the boos of the crowd, George Foreman. And make no mistake about it, this man has psychological scars from the way he's been treated by people ever since he lost to Ali. Now you hear the cheers in the background for the overwhelming favorite of the crowd, Joe Frazier. That's Gil Clancy in your picture with George Foreman. And here comes Joe Frazier, a man who has brought nothing but decency and integrity and indefatigable effort to his trade. And look what he's done. Look what Joe Frazier has done. He shaved his head. It's a different looking Joe Frazier. The beard is gone. The hair on the top of the head is gone. Joe Frazier weighed in at a surprising 224.5 pounds. 8.5 more pounds than he's ever carried. Well, that slow him down. Let's hear the introductions.
The greatest heavyweight, the Manasseh Mauler, Jack Dempsey. Jack Dempsey.
Wait a minute. An introduction of the Manasseh Mauler. Now 80. Recovering magnificently from a stroke. You see him there dimly, sitting back down. Marvelous man.
Caesar's Palace Hotel on Las Vegas, Nevada welcomes you to the Nassau Veterans Memorial Coliseum for tonight's 12-round heavyweight main event. Ring officials have been assigned here by the New York State Athletic Commission. James A. Farley, Jr., Chairman.
Directly above us in his corner. Okay, he's announcing the referee and the judges. The judges are Artie Idala and Tony Castellano, both respected men with long boxing pasts as officials. The referee,
former heavyweight champion of the world. He weighs 224.5 pounds, Smoking Joe Frazier.
I'd say there are about 16,000 people here, all of them cheering for Joe Frazier.
Former heavyweight champion of the world, 224.5 pounds, George Foreman. 12 rounds, main event.
That's not easy for George Foreman to take. He remembers the way it was on an October day in 1968 in the wake of the Tommy Smith and John Carlos Black Power protests during the 19th Olympiad in Mexico City. He remembers how it was. Now watch this.
Now when I tell you to break, I want you to step back.
George Foreman, who was once a sparring partner for the late Charles Sonny Liston, using the baleful stare approach. Look at that. The same way Liston did. It's unaccountable. It happened. I don't think it'll have any effect on Joe Frazier. All right. The referee is Harold Vallon. I'll tell you more about Harold Vallon later. But he refereed the Ellis-Patterson fight in Stockholm in 1968. And he was a controversy by himself. Round one, action underway. Now will Joe stay away from him? Can Joe change his style? Joe will bob and weave as he always does. You can be sure of that. The left hook, missing. Foreman remembering the way it was first time around. Joe bobbing. It didn't start this way, as you saw earlier in Kingston, Jamaica. But George is big. He comes at you. Foreman is throwing leather. He's got Frazier against the ropes. And he's Foreman is punching crisply. They're not those long looping punches. Foreman has confidence against Joe Frazier. This is not Frazier pursuing Ali. It's a different kind of fight. There are horses for courses. There are styles for fighters. Foreman is punching away at Joe Frazier. That left looks like a telephone pole when it comes at you from George Foreman. And then there's the right uppercut, his other great weapon. That left keeps getting into Frazier. Again, you saw it there. Then the right. Foreman wants this fight desperate. He says he'll do more damage than he did in the first bout. He says winners get kisses. He's bitter about the way people have treated him. I repeat that. It's critical to George Foreman. Foreman the red trunks, Frazier the white. Frazier looking so small against the hugeness of Foreman. But it's first round action. And in the first time around, Frazier went down 3 times. Frazier dancing, bobbing, weaving, challenging Foreman. Foreman getting hit by a left and the crowd roars. Foreman, you saw it. Good left. The end of round 1. Now the crowd is alive. Now they're saying 2 men going at it. Each a heavyweight champion of the world.
I got it, kid.
All right, let's look at that left by George Foreman. First to right, there's that left that snapped Frazier's head back. No question, the first round belonged to George Foreman. But no question, Frazier is moving, slipping, trying to, as much as he can. Stay away. Tire Foreman out. Foreman sits in his corner, listening to Charlie Scheitz, working the corner. Howard Albert, Gil Clancy's longtime managerial mate of Emil Griffith, also in Foreman's corner. Round 2. Foreman's glove, 8.5 ounces. Frazier's glove, 8 ounces. A hassle over the weights. Commissioner James Farley Jr. said, I don't care. Foreman punching straight. No longer those long punches. Punching straight, crisply. Foreman with that left getting in there. Utterly confident. Frazier with a good answering left hook. Probably his best punch so far. Foreman getting the right in there. Frazier against the ropes. This is not a rope-a-dope situation. Foreman missing. Frazier with a good left hook. Foreman steadily the aggressor. Frazier still on the ropes. Now off them, back against this, folks, is a fight. Look at the countdown in the lower right-hand corner of your screen. Second round action. Frazier now in the middle of the ring. did not connect. Good left by George. This is the crispest punching we've seen from Foreman since before the Ali fight. Frazier with a left hook. Maybe Gil Clancy has taught Foreman something. Good left hook. Got in there. Got in there by Frazier. A better second round for Frazier than the first round. Frazier, a notoriously slow start. Always bad in the first round. But Foreman punching away. Dominated in an aggressive sense. Coming up to the end of round 2. There it is. And the crowd is alive. Alive for this fight. And they should be. Let's take a look in slow-mo at that first left by Joe Frazier. Watch this. There's the right lead, the left lead by Foreman. Left again missing, the right scoring, the left missing, and up comes Frazier with the left. Nonetheless, the unofficial scoring around me has it 2 rounds for Foreman, no rounds for Frazier. But Frazier's strategy evolves before your eyes. To stay in there, to bob, to weave, to let Foreman hopefully use himself up to avoid that stunning right uppercut that really caused Frazier's demise in the first fight. And then to come on in his own way, as he has against Ali. Round 3. I don't think I have to identify Frazier for you or Foreman. Now let's see if Joe comes on. Foreman missing with that left. Joe in the middle of the ring this time. He worked the ropes a lot in round 2. Foreman missing with his right. Joe working more aggressively in this round. Note that immediately. Foreman pushing him off. They had a hassle about that before the fight, too. In the first fight, no question, George manhandled Joe. Good right lead by Foreman. Another good right. Frazier hurt. Frazier hurt by a right lead and then a left. They're at it. Steadily, insistent. This is a fan's fight. Right by George. George has hurt Joe Frazier in this round. Joe fighting back. Foreman accused Joe of quitting in the first fight. Frazier never quit in his life. Frazier coming back at George. Frazier slips a lot of those punches, but gets hit with too many. George has not taken a backward step. Round 3. Action, action, action. Frazier appears totally, or rather Foreman appears totally unafraid of Frazier. You saw that left again. Foreman did pull Frazier with his left hand behind the neck. Manhandled him. We're almost at the end of round 3. George Foreman's round again. He hurt Joe Frazier in this round. That's the end of the round. Little bit of blood from the right nostril of Joe Frazier. Now let's take a look at that right and the left by George Foreman. Watch it. There's the right. There's the right. And there's the left. And that's when Frazier was hurt in the third round. But no knockdowns thus far in the fight. Harold Vallon, the referee. Artie Idala and Tony Castellano, the judges. The fight's gone on a round system. New York rule. 3 knockdowns in a round will end the fight automatically. We had that twice in Kingston, Jamaica. We have not, repeat, had a knockdown yet. Foreman right above us. Calm, poised, confident.
George Foreman tonight. George Foreman.
Gil Clancy is screaming over here. It's all George Foreman tonight. All George Foreman. We'll see. Round 4. When you've got a tiger like Frazier, you don't ever give up on him. Foreman with the size. Foreman with the reach. And to me, the most revealing thing about Foreman thus far, remains to be seen if he'll tire, as he has in the past, has been the direct crispness of his punches. No more long, loping punches coming from behind the ear, but right on. Watch. Oh, a foot right, following a left. You know what this fight means to Joe Frazier. He dreams of a Frazier-Ali 4. He was not staggered there. That was a slip. Don't be misled. How to get inside that jab. How to do the damage. Upwards with the left hook. That's the kind of left hook that staggered Ali in the 11th of Ali Fight 1 and floored him in the 15th of Ali Fight 1. Good left hook there by Joe. So he's had 2 good left hooks in this recent series of exchanges. 2 quick lefts by Joe. Suddenly getting into Foreman. That one missed. Left uppercut, attempt to the score. Frazier again. The crowd responding. But Foreman back. Left. Less than a minute to go, as you can see, in round 4. Ceaseless action. Frazier pushing off to get punching room. We approach the end of round 4. No knockdowns yet. Endless punches. The crowd yelling at every left hook thrown by Frazier. Foreman pushing off again. Missed. That's the end of round 4. Frazier's best round of the fight. Now let's go back in slow motion. Watch this right by George Foreman. There it is. Snap the head back. Then watch a left by Joe Frazier. There it is. Got in there. Frazier's best round thus far. Round 4.
Yeah, but set him up for things. Okay?
At ringside, the feeling is that that round was even.
Snap that jab. Don't push it. Snap it.
Okay, round 5. Let's see if Foreman begins to tire. Frazier. Remember how Frazier came on in Manila, beginning with round 5 against Ali? Now he's survived 4 against the bigger, apparently stronger man, although each weighs 224.5. Let's see if Foreman backing up a step or two. Foreman still punching well. You saw that left snap Frazier's head. Pushing him off. Good right by Foreman. This is not the fellow who staggered about the ring against Ron Lyle. No way. Not up to this point. This is not the fellow who was outsmarted by Ali, or whatever happened to him in Zaire. Frazier trying to fight back. Foreman dominating. Round 5. Foreman got in good coming. And again, you saw it there. Frazier's hurt. Frazier's hurt again. One right hurt Frazier. Frazier's down. Frazier is down from a right. The mandatory 8 count. The first knockdown in round 5. George Foreman looking revived tonight. Frazier getting the left. Frazier getting the right. Frazier taking it from George Foreman. Foreman again with the right. Second knockdown in the round. One more knockdown. This fight is over. George Foreman struggling to Frazier, struggling to his feet. George Foreman poised in the neutral corner. Look at him. In total command now. And Harold Vallon says the fight is over. George Foreman wins in the 5th round by a technical knockout and dreams a whole new dream. Another match against Muhammad Ali. Too big, too strong, in perfect shape. The punches straight and crisp from the very beginning. No sign of fatigue. Frazier as game as ever, but now inevitably the boxing career over for Joe Frazier. A fight of unceasing action, of relentless punching by George Foreman, and of indomitable courage by George Frazier. I'm going up into the ring. Bear with me for some 30 to 60 seconds, and we will replay the knockout when I get in the ring.
Big. Well, they're both big, and they've both exchanged a few words out there when they were given the instructions by the referee, and they're back at in fact, they're yelling and screaming at each other. I don't think Dennis likes Foreman, and it's very obvious Foreman not too happy with him either.
George Foreman is 231.5. Dennis 6'3" at 215 pounds. And baby, they don't like each other.
Oh, I don't know what happened before this fight, but I didn't know that they had even met before.
All right, 12 rounds, the 5-point must system in Florida. And we are ready for really what might be a very, very important heavyweight contest. Dino Dennis.
Watching the animosity that they showed towards each other, I'm looking forward to a good scrap.
All right, Dennis on your left. He's a mover and a jabber, and he better be that way with Foreman, who's got 40 knockouts and 43 wins.
He's got very fast hands, as you're watching and witnessing right there with that left jab. And he's going to have to use those fast hands. He's going to have to use the speed on his feet, too.
Has he got to move away from the right hand, or which way should he be moving?
I would think that, in all honesty, he should be moving in and side to side. You don't want to be on the end of Foreman's power. That's where he'll get you. That's where he'll hurt you.
A 20-foot ring. Dennis with 14 knockouts and 28 wins. No losses and only 1 draw.
This is kind of a test for Foreman in the fact that he has trouble with guys that are his size and can move and box, as he showed with Ali when he lost his title. But now, can he come back and show us he's learned something?
And remember Gregorio Peralta, went 20 rounds, lost both fights to Foreman, but did go 20.
Well, in the first fight, there was a lot of speculation as to whether he really wanted it or not. But we're going to have to find out tonight.
Pretty good hook by Dino. A little bit open-handed, though. Wasn't a big punch.
Well, he's not noted for his devastating power as Foreman is. But right now, Foreman's kind of trying to check him out and see what he's got in front of him.
The common opponent was Scott Ledoux and, of course, King Roman. Both were knockout victims of George Foreman, and they were a decision by the man on your left. That's Dino Dennis.
Well, John Dennis has told me, he says, hey, Jerry, Foreman has proved it's proven he's not invincible. Ali got rid of him in 8 rounds. And he said, I'm going to try to test that stamina of his, and I'm going to try to wear him out and probably get rid of him in the latter rounds if I can at all.
Remember, Scott Ledoux winning 3 rounds here on CBS, and Dennis won a 10-round decision over Scott Ledoux, also here on CBS.
We saw the first few punches from Foreman's arsenal, and nothing really landed with any effect.
Boy, he's strong, though, and that's a heavy jab that the man on your right. Oh, a good left hand, and Dennis is hurt in his own corner.
I don't really think he was hurt, Tommy. It was he was backing up from the punch, so there was no power on it.
The New England champion on your right, but I'll tell you, the big man shoved him into his own corner. Make no mistake.
He's going to have to fight the best fight of his career to even stay in here with this guy.
Foreman to the body. Boy, he is big, Jerry.
There we got powerful jab of Foreman that it landed with strength.
A very serious heavyweight. He took 75 off, but at 76, he's done a pretty good job. He beat Ron Lyle and Joe Frazier twice.
He's becoming a lot busier this year. Beating Ron Lyle, Joe Frazier, and also Scott Ledoux this year.
It's scheduled for 12. Here's the end of round 1.
Hi, I'm Connie Stevens. Homecoming days are going on now, so come on over to Ace. Whatever you need for your home this fall, remember, Ace is the place. Lots of bargains all through the store. Paints, appliances, power tools. Your Ace man's got them all. He can save you money on national brands during Ace Homecoming Days. Ace is the place with the helpful hardware man.
Are you like me? Crazy about cars? Really love that machine of yours? Then right about now, you should be putting in Prestone 2. Antifreeze isn't permanent. It wears out. So every fall, my baby here gets a fresh feel of Prestone Antifreeze. It fights freeze-ups and helps protect her cooling system against corrosion.
Prestone 2, you know it protects.
This is my Packard, and I know Prestone protects.
That's Foreman's record. The only loss to Muhammad Ali, of course, in Africa. And he's after Dino Dennis, unbeaten.
Well, that's a rather imposing record, isn't it? 44 fights, 43 wins, 40 knockouts. I'm sure glad I'm on the other side of it now, Tom.
Only 8 of George Foreman's fights have gone 5 rounds or more. Only 8.
Well, that's a test to his power, his punch, and as is obvious, his awesome strength. But now, what has he done after that 5th round?
Good hook by Dino Dennis, and he lands 2 straight good right hands.
Hey, he came to fight. You can see that by the words they exchanged at the referee's instruction.
Just keep in mind that Foreman has trouble with tall heavyweights, like Muhammad Ali, maybe like Dino Dennis.
That's right. He's 6'3", and let's say something about Dennis. He's 29 wins, no losses, and 1 draw. So that tells you that he's not a bad fighter.
In the neutral corner now, they're really just locked head to head. Dennis is not backing off. This is round 2 action of what is supposed to be 12.
This is a mistake on Dennis's part. He does not have the power of Ron Lyle. Ron knocked George down, but he doesn't have that power. He cannot exchange with him. He has to move and box him.
Jerry, you've worked with both of them as sparring partners. Is Foreman the strongest fighter you've ever been in with?
That's it.
Foreman is the strongest man I have ever been in a ring with, and in my opinion, over the years of the heavyweight division, he has got to be the most awesome physical specimen that has ever been in the heavyweight division.
All right, good action by Dino Dennis, who doesn't seem to be too impressed, but a lot of people aren't until, uppercut by Foreman. Right hand by Dennis.
He is not being intimidated by Foreman at all, and I think he feels he can win this fight. And as long as you got two fighters in there that believe in themselves, then you're going to have a heck of a fight.
What kind of a body puncher is George Foreman?
Well, most of his body punches are swings, but they land with power and authority because he has power and authority.
Gil Clancy has tried to cut down the long arcs of those Foreman punches, and he's done a good job. Ooh, Dennis fights back.
And a good hook by Dennison out of there.
Those are heavy punches that are being thrown by George Foreman. Lands a left hook.
I don't think it's bothered Dennis at all. We may be in for a heck of a fight, Tom.
Right above us, you can see about 10 seconds left in round 2, and Dennis is hanging tough.
Well, I know for one thing.
We'll be back with more action from the Sportatorium after this word from your local station. Round 3, Dino Dennis, born in Italy, but raised in Massachusetts. Boy, he's a tall, good-looking athlete, but he's in there with a guy that is really strong.
Sure, he is that. I'll tell you, I had him as a sparring partner, Tom, and he doesn't give quarter to anybody. Believe me, he respects his own ability and has confidence in himself, and he's showing himself tonight.
Good inside punches. A pretty good combination rattled off there by Dino Dennis. But I'll tell you, look at the big guy. He can hit you in the kidney. It'll hurt tomorrow or a week later.
Everything's going to hurt, but hey, Dennis wants to win this fight, and what a feather in his cap that what he's doing right now. He's showing people that, hey, this guy's not so invincible that I cannot stay with him.
That's it. Al Edison in there, the referee, who has done some big fights before. Listen to the referee. Edison has a mic on, and we can listen to it right here on CBS when he's not having to really part these guys too much.
Not a lot. They're doing some good fighting. That was a wicked shot by George Foreman there.
Muhammad Ali is up in New York City, probably watching this tonight here on CBS and wondering
whether he should really be retired or come back and fight Ali. I'll tell you, watching something fight Foreman, watching some, Dennis is proving that Foreman can be beaten right now.
Okay, a good left hand, a big jab, just knocked the head back, 2 of them. Dennis gets away from the neutral corner now, moves back out. Foreman's after him now, and Dennis doesn't look like he's moving as much.
No, I think he got bothered by one of those shots. It slowed him down a little bit.
Round 3. A lot of people said it wouldn't go past 2, and we're in the third. Look at right hand.
Look at left hook, and Dennis is definitely hurt.
Dennis hit by a big right hand by George Foreman at 231 pounds.
Here with the right hand, it's followed by a hook, Tommy, and that really bothered him. But look at him, he's staying in there. His mistake he's doing, he should be hanging on, not exchanging with him. He doesn't have Foreman's power.
Foreman just standing right on top in Dennis's corner. Round 3.
He's got to hang on, he's got to grab him, he's got to protect himself. Foreman has already proven too many times in the past with 40 knockouts that he can hurt you. So why is the man exchanging with him?
Dennis is trying to hold on now. Edison parts him. He's trying to get combinations together and get George Foreman off of him, but he just stalks him and finds him again.
Yeah, I'm really surprised at Dennis. You know, he's hurt again. I don't know if I don't think he's going to last around. Not at this.
All right, he's still on his feet at the end of round. All right, while we're waiting for Dino Dennis, don't forget next Friday at 11:45 p.m. Eastern Time on CBS. CBS presents live coverage of the ABA champion New York Nets taking on Rick Barry and the Golden State Warriors in regular season NBA action. Friday night at 11:30 Eastern Time for the Nets and Golden State. He's not a basketball player, but this guy is as strong as an ox. That's George Foreman.
He can punch, and I don't understand Dennis' tactics in that last round. Gil Clancy was yelling and screaming at the referee. I don't know what he was yelling about. But you know Foreman's going to come out and take it straight to Dennis now. He's going to try to get rid of him. Now, if Dennis plays it right, he should be moving and staying completely away from Foreman. Let him wear himself out.
Dennis has a cut high on his left eyebrow there. He does not look very steady here in the 4th round to me.
No, he doesn't,
and George Foreman looks stronger.
Well, he knows what he did to him last round, so all he did was give him confidence.
Remember, Foreman got off the deck when Rod Lyle knocked him down there 2 times in Vegas.
Break it. All
right, he got back up. Here you heard Edson, the referee, talking to him.
Right. Foreman took an awful lot out of Dennis in that last round. I think he took a lot of confidence out of him, too.
Dennis had the reputation of being a sticker and a mover and a jabber, but he mixed up with a heavy artillery, and he's in trouble again. A left hand did it this time. Another left hand jab. That's a heavy jab.
I think this will be the last round of the fight. John's a nice guy, but he's making a mistake. You can't exchange with this man.
Dennis throwing the big hooks, and if he misses that, George Foreman's right inside him.
When he hits you on the arms, it hurts.
230 pounds.
I don't understand John. What is he doing? He should be tying him up over there. He doesn't have the power to come out of it with a shot to hurt Foreman.
Foreman is just measuring the man now and working from side to side. Dennis trying to, keeps it alive with the left and right.
Come back with the left hook himself.
Left hand by Foreman. Dennis's head shot back. The right hand by Foreman.
Dennis is cut badly above the left eye. But you know something? Foreman is definitely tiring, but can Dennis last this assault?
About 6 unanswered punches thrown by the former heavyweight champion on the right of your screen.
John Dennis's corner threw water on him to kind of refresh him, to bring him back. I don't know if it's going to help. He gets another hook.
Big hooks by a tremendous specimen. What do you want to do, Al?
He's stopping it. Al Braverman, the referee asked Al Braverman, what do you want to do, Al? He said, stop it. And I've got to respect the manager for that. He was taking a beating.
It appeared there was no way that Dino Dennis could fight off this man, George Foreman. And Foreman was looking to Edson, the referee, to make sure it was stopped.
I've got to give his corner credit, and I've got to give the referee credit. And
we've got to give Big George Foreman a heck of a lot of credit. This guy wants the heavyweight title back again, and he's working on Dino Dennis in round 4. Look at this action.
He kept throwing wicked shots, and you have to respect John Dennis because he took some shots that no other man could take, and he did not go down from it. I give him a lot of credit.
It was Braverman that came out of the corner and stopped it. Dino Dennis did not stop.
As you noticed just a moment ago, the referee asked, he said, what do you want to do, Al? And he said, stop it. I don't want my boy to get hurt.
Now, Braverman moves into the left of your screen. There he is. Say, come on, Edson. My guy's had enough. George Foreman, though, stalking the crown, the heavyweight title.
2 minutes.
One bad fight in Venezuela, and George Foreman wants a shot.
Referee stops the bout. Winner by a TKO, George Foreman.
He is massive. He is well-conditioned, and under Gil Clancy, he looks like a heck of a lot different fighter.
Well, he's a good fighter. He's a powerful fighter. I think he will be reckoned with.
We'll be back. We'll be back with Brent Musburger talking to George Foreman, the winner of this heavyweight clash, in just a moment.
And we're back right here in the middle of the ring with George Foreman on my left and Gil Clancy, who has done a magnificent job handling him. George, how would you evaluate your performance as you look right up into our cameras here?
Well, actually, to be honest with you, I didn't intend to really finish him until about the 8th, 9th, 10th round, but I got him hurt over in the far corner about the end of the round, so I decided I better go on and finish him because, I'm landing punches and they weren't effective. The body punches really did it, but I think that the finish came in due time. The referee should have stepped in a little earlier, but the guy was courageous. He would take those punches and try to land one of his own. So you have to score him high. He went longer with me on those kind of punches than Joe Frazier or anyone else. So he raced high in my book, but the main objective now is getting that championship form, getting the World Heavyweight Championship. These other fights are very important, but in my mind, there only exists one piece of tension, and that's for the Heavyweight Championship of the world. And I would like to avenge the only defeat I ever had against you-know-who. I'm not going to give him no publicity.
He doesn't need it anymore, George, I'll tell you. But do you consider yourself now the finest heavyweight, like many of us who watch you and the other heavyweights in action? Do you think you're number one?
You don't score a guy and call him the finest heavyweight just because he can give it. It's the ones who can take it that you got to score heavy. And when I get in there and can take it like this man, then I think that you can rate me one of the good heavyweights in the country. Right now, I'm creeping up on that kind of a potential. But right now, I can give it, but who knows whether I can take it like this man. He tried his best and that scores him high in any heavyweight, in the division.
George, what a turnaround you are as a personality. Now you reach deep down when someone asks you a tough question. You're willing to come up and meet the press. You don't hide from people. What's gone on in George Foreman's mind?
Well, I'm intending to have a cure for cancer before I die, and the more money I make, the more I can give to the Cancer Foundation, and I hope to have it in the next few days. If I can fight every few months, give a lot of money there, then I'll have a cure for cancer, and that's better than being champion of the world and a whole lot of money in the bank, isn't it?
It sure is, George. Nothing better than that.
Right.
You know, sometimes a fighter is no better than the men around him, and I want you to tell the fans what Gil Clancy has meant to you.
Gil Clancy's high, but this is Charles Shipes. He lives with me.
Charles is the one that keeps
going,
right?
That's right. And Gil Clancy is the man, the technical man. This is John Falk, and of course my main man, Don King, Lamar Davis.
George, before we go on, I want to ask Gil a question. Gil, what about the change that's come over George Foreman?
Well, as I have said many, many times before, George always had all the ability in the world. He's a happy guy now. He's a relaxed guy, and all that ability is coming out.
You know, I noticed...
I'd like to say hello to his mother.
Yeah, would. Hello, Mom.
I don't know if the FCC allows that, folks, but we just did it. Listen, the trainer, Al Braverman, was up throwing water on his fighter, and you were furious over there at the corner.
I sure was. I was complaining to the referee, but I wouldn't want the other guy disqualified. It was better that George ended it this way.
All right, George, who's next?
I had to tell Gil, hey, Irishman, get out of here.
George, who's next for you?
Right now, I want some butterflies. I like the championship of the world, and whoever the WBA or WBC recognizes as champion, I'll fight them. If they want to recognize me, I won't take it unless I can fight the best contender around.
All right, George. Congratulations, and also to Gil Clancy and the entire entourage. George Foreman here has stopped Dino Dennis in the 4th round, and don't forget that we have more heavyweight action coming up here from the Sportatorium in Hollywood, Florida. And let's see if we can get a monitor turned around. Can somebody yank a monitor around here for us? We can take a look at this, George. Here we are right now. George, you walk right over here with me. Here is some of the closing moments of action here. You can see now the punishment, and you think that it should have been stopped at this point.
Right. I had my rhythm going. I hit him and jumped from one side to the other. There was no way he's been able to land a good counterpunch because I got the rhythm going now. And the man he's done his best, but he's not going to quit because he's a tremendous athlete at heart. So someone else has to come to his rescue.
You know, George, I liked him in the second round.
I looked at the referee right there to stop it, but he wouldn't.
You were turning to look. You know, I liked Dino Dennis's performance in the second round. I thought he irritated you a bit there.
More than that.
that jab still would be the thing that you've got to work on defending against, right? The guy who can move and stick, that's what you got to worry about.
Well, what I'm trying to worry about now is just beating up everybody I face in the ring and do a good job of getting out of the ring unhurt and be thankful to God because he's the one who does all of this for me. And that's all important right now. I can work on jabs, but that don't win fights.
We have mentioned Kenny Norton, Muhammad Ali. Of course, you want that championship back, and tonight you defeat Dino Dennis. Some of the other fighters that might step into the ring with George Foreman, who would you name?
Right now, I just want anybody. I'm working close at hand with Don King, as you know. He's, I think, have been the action mind behind George Foreman because you leave it to me, I'd be on my couple 100-acre ranch in Marshall, Texas, cooking homemade eggs, homegrown eggs or vegetables out of the garden. But he pushes me, and so right now I just want to stay active. I don't want to go a whole month without fighting.
Now, you're going to come into New York this week, I understand.
Right.
And on Friday night, you're going to be part of a panel over at CBS, and we're going to take a look at that controversial Muhammad Ali, Ken Norton fight, and you're going to be one of the expert boxing men that we're going to have scoring it. I understand that we've got Floyd Patterson, Joe Frazier. We may even be able to talk Howard Cosell into coming over there and scoring that fight along with you.
Mainly, if we can get an adept and a professional man like yourself, that's enough.
Kind words indeed. And that is it next Friday night at CBS. We will take another look at that Muhammad Ali, Ken Norton fight, and you can decide for yourself whether or not Ali indeed remains the heavyweight champion. We've got more heavyweight action. Tom Brookshire and Jerry Corey have rested their vocal cords, and we'll be back. The Sportatorium in Hollywood, Florida, in just a moment.
45 fights, 44 victories, only that one loss to Muhammad Ali. The opponent, Pedro Augusto, was from Puerto Rico, now resides in Oradell, New Jersey. His record, 27-7-1. The bell for first round action. Will develop the rules of the fight as we go. It's a small ring designed almost for George Foreman. because it's only 16 feet square, or maybe designed for midget performers. But it'd be very hard for Augusto to get away from Foreman in this ring. 10-ounce gloves at the request of Gil Clancy, Foreman's trainer. A growing trend in non-titled heavyweight bouts these days. 10-ounce gloves pushing the blow.
Hold it. All right.
We score on a 10-point plus scoring system per round. The mandatory 8 count in case of a knockdown in effect. The 3 knockdown rule in effect. There will be no saving by the bell. So there are the nuts and bolts. We continue now with first round action. George, as I said, former heavyweight champion of the world. Ever since his loss to Ali, while he didn't fight in 75, has been strong on the comeback trail in 76. And, of course, there was the second knockout of Joe Frazier. 2 minutes left in round 1. That was last June at the Nassau Memorial Coliseum in Hempstead, New York.
Now, hold it. That's it. All right, go ahead.
Referee is Jay Edson. He will score the fight along with judges Frank Barberi and Dr. Donald Spence. George, never a graceful fighter. Sometimes ponderous and awkward in his moves, but awkwardly clever. He knows how to cut the ring off on an opponent. And, of course, his punches are pulverizing with either hand. A left hook that operates like a piston, and the right can knock you into the clouds.
All right, boys, let's push out of it. That's it. You learn nothing, George. Hold it. Stop holding. All right.
Sluggish first round action. As for Augusto, ordinarily, although he's not doing it in this first round, he's a keep coming at you fighter in the manner of Joe Frazier. His best weapon, a left hook. Fought Floyd Patterson in 72, broke Floyd's nose in the first round, then suffered his own broken hand in the fight, lost on a TKO in the 7th. Big disparity in the size of the two men. Foreman at 226 at the weigh-in yesterday, Augusto at 203. Foreman was at 224 when he knocked out Frazier last June. Says that he's taken off 4 pounds since yesterday. Figures he's really at about 222. We're counting down toward the end of the first round. Augusto is staying away, which is the better part of wisdom. We are coming up to the end of round 1, which Augusto will survive.
Day and night.
The bell for round 2, live here in the Municipal Auditorium, Pensacola, Florida. George Foreman against Pedro Augusto. Pedro Augusto. Now a resident of Oradell, New Jersey. Foreman looking at you there in the red trunks. Augusto in the blue.
All right, let's break that up.
George just pacing himself through the first round. Augusto not adhering to his more recognized style of fighting. Discretion being the better part of valor. Instead of coming at George, which would be a tailor-made way for George to put you away in the first round, tried to stay away. Use the left, crouch, bob and weave, keep the head moving. George missing with that one, for instance, and missing with that. George looking to perfect his timing, stay active, and looking ahead toward bigger, more important fights like Jimmy Young and Muhammad Ali. That's the dream, to get back at Ali. Good quick left by George. Notable thing about Foreman, under the tutelage of Gil Clancy and Charlie Shipes, both of whom are working George's corner, along with Sid Martin, is that he has shortened his punches. He doesn't loop them nearly as much as he once did. See that left, quick, straight, short. It's the way he demolished Joe Frazier second time around. 5th round, last June. He had other tune-up matches with the likes of Scott Ledoux. Did away with him in 3. Dino Dennis did away with him in 4. George working to the midsection, and what a toll that left will take of Augusto's midsection. See that long left. Left again to the midsection. 2 more of those, Augusto will double up.
Do that. Wait a minute.
Jay Edson, the referee. Not a warning about low blows, although George apologized to Jay Edson, who lifted up the pants of Pedro Augusto. Working Augusto's corner, his manager, Carl Duba. Ace Morato is the trainer. Bill Faison is the cutman. The old phrase in boxing, cutman. Calling back to memory the likes of Whitey Benstein, who was as good as I ever saw. Second round action. And that left hurt Augusto. And then a right uppercut, another right uppercut. Foreman just measuring the opponent. Oh, right to the midsection. Augusto is staggering now. Rubbery leg. He's ready to go. George backing off. Throwing his punches. Tremendous power as we approach the end of round 2, and Augusto is ready to be taken. George Foreman ready to start action in the third round against Pedro Augusto. It's been a tune-up fight as expected thus far. A complaint by Augusto's manager that Foreman's been hitting low. But I talked with referee Jay Edson, and he said they were not low blows, and that was why he lifted up Augusto's trunk. Of course, we covered that in the second round.
Hold that time there.
Give you a little rest.
No. Go ahead. No. I wanted to do it for him. I was doing it for him. You're all right, George. Let's go.
With Mike J. Edson, the referee, and as you can see, he's a good referee. He's from Naples, Florida, and he handled the Holmes fight that we did last Sunday aboard the aircraft carrier Lexington. Augusto is quickly hurt again. George is ready to put him away. He's a little angry that J. Edson wiped off his face. George just measuring. I wonder how long Augusto will stand. Right now, he doesn't handle. Augusto was by Foreman. J. Edson warned Foreman about that kind of manhandling.
All right, push out of it. That's it. That's okay. That's good.
Knowing George Foreman as I do, and of course he's my colleague at many of these ABC matches
that's all right.
that we carry, many fights that we carry on ABC. I know when George is angry, and right now he's angry. Good hook right. Snapped Augusto's head back. Oh, into the midsection. Clean. No question of low blow. The trunk's coming down again. Right to the head. Again, up come the trunk.
When he comes back there.
And an order to the corner to fix Augusto's trunk when he comes back. Augusto is alive on gameness. Seconds left in round 3. It's been target practice for Foreman from the beginning, but Augusto has not yet been put away. Look at that head snap back. A left and a right that missed and a right to Foreman. Another right and a left, and down goes Augusto. Long overdue. It's been target practice, and I don't think Augusto will be able. Yes, he's going to get up.
9. Okay, all right.
Only delays the inevitable. The trunks have dropped again. Wild swings by Augusto. Or at least one wild swing. Look at Foreman clean up. Total mismatch. There he goes. Just a brutal mismatch.
5, 6, 7.
This will do it.
9. All right, let's go. Come on. Bell.
Edson says he got up in time.
Bell.
And the bell for the end of round 3. Curious ending, wasn't it? Augusto appeared dead on the canvas. Look at those slow-mos now. This is knockdown number 1, though. Glancing left, which still was enough to hurt him. Then the right. Augusto trying to come back. There's the right and the left. Powerhouse combination. Down one Augusto. Peculiar the way he just lies there flat. You think he's more dead than alive and bangs suddenly up. Let's look at the second knockdown. It was the left there that did it. Really was. Now look at him. Well, you're looking at him alive and as well as he can be under the circumstances in the corner. Last week we had the opening of the U.S. Boxing Championship Series quarterfinals action aboard the aircraft carrier Lexington. Thus far, the way Foreman is manhandling poor Augusto, they could have fought this one in a submarine. George Foreman, angered a little bit by the actions of Jay Edson, who was absolutely correct in the way he handled Foreman. Edson's a pro, maintains position in the ring and commands a fight. Fourth round action. Foreman, of course, in the red trunks. Sharpshooter, Pedro Augusto, who was floored twice in the third round, seemed out. Suddenly jumped to his feet at the count of 9. Just before the count of 10, Foreman thought it was over. Edson said it wasn't. Jay Edson, the referee. Long left, Augusto's gloves come down low. George punches away. Oh, that's a right. Augusto ready to go again, dancing backward against the ropes. George just throwing punches. Gil Clancy yelling, just move him around, George. Just move him around. Body. Oh, there's the right uppercut. Down again, Augusto. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He does it again. He's up again. That's 3 knockdowns in the fight thus far. Got to give Augusto high marks for courage. He doesn't know where he is. The right hand floors him again. 3. Terrible mismatch, and I would hope that Jay Edson puts a halt to this fight. There he does it again. It's a bouncing ball. Edson asks him if he's all right. He says yes. But Nick quickly receives more punishment. Fourth round action. 4 knockdowns in the first, 2 in the third, 2 in the fourth. Look at George pulverizing. That's it. End of fight. 3 knockdown rule. Third time down in the round. And so the winner by a knockout. You all right? George you okay? Working his way steadily toward what he hopes will be a rematch with Muhammad Ali.
And he is oh so clever with his fist. Jimmy Young into the ring. George Foreman, that's Gil Clancy. George Foreman laughing, smiling, confident. We'll be back in a moment. 28 years of age. The weight, 229. The record, 45-1, 42 victories by KO. Again, only 1 loss in the career, and that to Muhammad Ali. The opponent, of course, Jimmy Young, 27, 213 pounds. The record, 20 wins, 5 losses, 2 draws. He scored only 7 KOs. He is not a knockout puncher. He relies on his boxing skills, his ability to counterpunch, his quickness with his head and slipping punches, his quickness with his feet, and using ring size. And in this fight, ring size could be a factor. It is a huge ring, 21 feet, with a thin canvas, which makes for a fast track and gives a good boxer all the room in the world to navigate. The fighters will be fighting this one with 10-ounce gloves. They are heavyweights. They follow the policy here of the state of California, which after a boxing investigation some years ago decided that heavyweights should wear 10-ounce gloves for the safety of the fighters themselves. Scoring is on a 10-point must system. Scoring done by a referee and 2 judges. The mandatory 8-count, of course. The 3 knockdown rule in effect. No saving by the bell. Those are the basics. The referee is Waldemar Schmidt. He's a veteran. He's done many title fights. I'll tell you more about him later. The judges are George in the red trunks, Jimmy in the black trunks. Black and white. Jimmy in the dark trunks. gets underway. Jimmy Young, the quick left jab. His reach will surprise you. It is as long, maybe a half-inch longer than George's. Immediately, Young registers a complaint to Waldemar Schmidt about dirty tackles. One writer had a whole story about George training with dirty tackles. Makes good copy. We'll have to see what George does in the ring. First round action. Young's task, not to get careless, not to get impatient. There's that quick left jab of George's. Even when it doesn't look like much, ask the man who's hit by it. It's like a lamppost, a pistol. He's staying away, flicking the left jab. Said earlier, Muse's task is to be in too close or out too far. Too close to be hurt by way of tying Foreman up, out too far to be hit by Foreman. Foreman comes right at the opponent, or slightly to the opponent's right, anticipating movement in that direction. In that way, he seeks to cut the ring in half and take advantage of a faster opponent, which Young is. 1 minute left in the first round. Clearly a tactical round. Feeling out process. Seconds left in the round. Physically, Foreman looks huge, and yet he's never been more trim. He looks so much bigger than Young, you wonder, can Jimmy be a heavyweight? Young taunting Foreman, talking to him. We approach the end of round one. George Foreman, the red or the light trunks. Jimmy Young, the black or the dark trunks. The first round, a tactical round, as I said. It has often been said, it has often been written that there is nothing more subjective than the scoring of a fight. Chris and I will keep you abreast of our view of the scoring as we go along. But if one thing was proved in the Young-Ali fight, it's very difficult to score a fight involving Jimmy Young. Because, you see, he fights in the main a defensive fight, very cleverly, using the counterpunch. However, against Ali, he didn't have the one-punch knockout fighter to worry about. He has that now with Foreman. Time that Waldemar Schmidt has cautioned George Foreman. It's not like Olympic or amateur boxing, however, where a fighter will be penalized and lose points in the scoring of a round. Scoring on a 10-point must system. He's pushing, man. We talked about. Jimmy Young with the right after a Foreman lead with the left. Left to drop. Young upped it right in. Off on Young. Chief response from the crowd to this fight thus far has been Boo Foreman, based upon the referee Waldemar Schmidt's remonstrances to George. Now George tried to get in quickly. He had a left lead and only grazed. Young complaining to Schmidt about the way Foreman was manhandling and brawling with him.
Come on, that bear is scratching you. That bear is scratching you. Come in.
See the countdown for the second round. In your lower right-hand corner, Young with a good right against Foreman's chin. Foreman instantly enraged, went after Young. Jimmy Young, always a surprise, at least in every fight we've covered, but well up in the 90s at the very least. The fight is already filled with sweat. First two rounds, I think the principal focus would have to be on George Foreman's clear attempts to manhandle Jimmy Young the way he did Joe Frazier. However, it's been the tactic of the Young camp to emphasize this before the fight. So, the Young corner keeps telling Jimmy, stay away, stick and move, and keeps telling referee Waldemar Schmidt, watch out for Foreman's tactics. Whether or not Foreman using tactics that are not entirely reputable is for you, the viewers, to judge. What he's been doing thus far is not very different from what any veteran fighter will do. Because it's not a pretty business. Third round action. Foreman always the pursuer. There was nothing there. Screams from the corner, and the crowd reacts. Wait a minute. He took away a point from George Foreman. I didn't realize they had that rule in effect here very candidly in Puerto Rico, but he told each judge to take away a point from George Foreman. Frankly, I couldn't see the basis for that. Remember in the Landover fight how Jimmy Young would lean his head through the ropes and out of the ring. Nobody penalized him for that. It's one of the reasons we told you it's so hard to score a fight involving Jimmy Young. But obviously, Young and his people have the official leaning very heavily in his favor in terms of any attempts to muscle Young by Foreman. Third round action. Good left lead by Young. Another left lead by Young. Foreman looking purposeful. Thus far in this, the third round, has thus far been unable to get to Young. Cautioning Foreman. Young at every turn finds cause to complain about Foreman's tactics. And the crowd is reacting in Young's favor. We're almost at the end of round 3.
3, 2, 1, go ahead.
Jimmy Young in the black or dark trunks coming out to face George Foreman in the red or light trunks. To reset, it has been totally a tactical fight thus far. The action is off. Young's plan, obviously, to get Foreman to lose emotional control of himself, to enrage him. And so at every turn, he is looking to the referee, Waldemar Schmidt, to complain about manhandling, brawling action. Right there, you saw another evidence, and quickly Schmidt responds, telling Foreman, who was penalized a point in one round, that he must cease and desist. Debris just thrown across the ring, right into this reporter's hand. Always had the good hands. But that's the set up till now. Young fighting his kind of fight, defensive and occasional counter punch. Foreman's job to control himself. So difficult to score a Jimmy Young fight. But in these first 3 rounds, I'd have to give Jimmy Young a slight edge, wouldn't you, Chris?
Left hand.
Yes, I certainly would. It just seems like Joe Louis used to say, you can run, but you can't hide. And that appears to what's happening right now. And Foreman is so strong.
He is a huge man. He makes Young seem like a light heavyweight by comparison. But his problem is well known, based upon his boxing history. Stamina. Young has said if he's not hurt in the first 5 rounds, and I've mentioned this earlier, he will win the fight. Once again, as Foreman pushes Young off in half disgust, Waldemar Schmidt cautions Foreman. George, with a left to the head, tried to come into the belly, but it was picked off basically by Young's glove. He's got such quick hands for defense. If there's a style to trouble Foreman, Jimmy Young has it. Many of us used to wonder why the late Yancey Durham ever gave George Foreman a shot at Joe Frazier in Kingston, Jamaica. Couldn't understand it. Frazier's style was so right for Foreman. Young's style is now puzzling Foreman. George Foreman's face, he was just badgering A with his corner, B with some fans. The very thing from his point of view he must not do. We are coming to you live via the satellite from Roberto Clemente Coliseum. Scheduled 12 round, the 5th round. Foreman against Young. Thus far, Young fighting his curious defensive style of fighting is clearly troubling Foreman. You know, Chris, they said Foreman had to punch shorter, and so he did against Frazier. But Frazier doesn't have the quick hands that Jimmy Young does, and therefore Foreman doesn't have to keep his gloves in punching position so constantly against a Frazier as he does against a Young, and he is not keeping his gloves steadily in punching position. Have you noticed?
Certainly noticed it, and there have been thud punches to the body that just happened there. Not really telling blows, because George very often hits with an open glove.
Fifth round action. Ali said after the 5th round there was nothing left in Foreman's punches. Young said, as I noted 2 days ago, if I'm not hurt by the 5th round, it's over for Foreman. However, words are idle things. Let's see what happens in the ring. Unless we have reason to tell you otherwise, this is to notify our stations along the line that we are coming up with a station break. 5th round action. Foreman to the left of your screen, Young to the right. With a patch of gray in his head. But clearly it hasn't been from pre-fight worry. The two fighters have had one key common opponent, Ron Lyle. Twice, Jimmy Young boxed Lyle to a feather. Tied him up inside and fought more offensively because of his total confidence against Lyle when he's fighting tonight. Once Foreman fought Lyle, that Las Vegas, Nevada, at Caesar's Palace. Foreman was decked twice by Lyle, but came back to knock Lyle out in the 5th round. Coming up the end of the round, we'll return after this from our local station. Underway. Up till now, a dull fight. For the average viewer, much too tactical. Foreman unable thus far to get on track. Young now, coming into the 6th round, looking more sprightly on his feet. Look at the foot movement. Young trying to get to him with the jab, but Foreman always the pursuer. Foreman there attempting to go to the midsection. Might be a tendency here, Chris, for Young, having survived 5 rounds, to become a little more aggressive. In Young's corner, they were very confident between rounds that Jimmy is ahead. And they have Jimmy fighting the kind of fight that they want him to fight.
And now off to the right, they can hear his corner asking him to jab, jab, jab.
See that left thrown by Foreman? It was a kind of cuffing thing, and that too, with a half-open glove.
Right.
Not reflecting the power of Foreman, really. Gil Clancy over in the opposite corner, looking up, and he is noticeably concerned. 6-round action.
I don't think he can look for the one punch like Alfredo Escalera did against Ronnie McGarvey, ending it in the 6th round. The one punch, he's got to get some combinations here.
Well, I'm not sure I agree with that, Chris. Not with the way Foreman can punch, but he's got to land.
He's a pretty good defensive fighter.
Skills of Jimmy Young. Foreman was let free by the referee. He lunged in at Young, and Young, who's a master at slipping punches and picking punches with his gloves, came back with his own counter.
Ooh, now that's flagrant right there. Yet we should remind viewers, Howard, that the last thing a referee says, protect yourself at all times. So
Jimmy Young in this round has been just a touch more aggressive. Right there with the right. Counting down to the end of round 6. A curious fight. Involving Jimmy Young, that's difficult to score, difficult to decipher. Foreman has been pursuing, but he's never gotten on track. He's been all tied up by Jimmy Young. Right there, Young was hurt. Right there, Young was hurt by a Foreman left. Now he's in trouble. Suddenly, Foreman connected. Young is in trouble. He's going to have to draw on every boxing skill to survive. It happened with a quick, jolting left. That's what I meant, Chris. The power of Foreman is the knees. Now he's got it. Now he's got him. Question of whether or not he keeps his professional poise and can finish it. 7th round action. Jimmy Young in trouble. Jimmy Young in desperate trouble against the rope. But Foreman trying to measure him. Can't connect cleanly. Young drawing upon every boxing resource.
A lot of punches being thrown.
How overconfident Young's corner was between rounds. They told us no contest, but suddenly Foreman struck. And so, for the first time in his career, Foreman shows resurgent power in a later round of a fight.
But he should be smarter now.
Holding on.
He should
Foreman
wait and
is
set him
not
up.
keeping his professional poise.
No, not at all. Minute and a half to go in the round.
Should measure, pick his opportunities, capitalize. But he's not doing it. He had been frustrated for 6 rounds, and suddenly he realized he had the opponent. Falling him now. A left and a right. Young holding on. Still Foreman can't put him away. Hasn't even sent him to the canvas. 21-foot ring to negotiate in. Young going from rope on one side to rope on another side. Foreman teeing off. Young now getting together, collecting himself, trying to fight back. A big round. This, the 7th round. Heavyweight action. Foreman's on as we go toward the end of the round. 35 seconds left. Getting late. Look at Young fight. boxing skills. The crowd on its feet. Young was apparently gone, but far from it now. If you wanted to know about Jimmy Young's heart, you found out about it in this round.
And what condition he's in.
Jimmy Young survives the round. He survives the round and comes back fighting. I wish we could show you this crowd on its feet giving a standing ovation to Jimmy Young. Now in slow motion, let's look at what Foreman does here. Remember, 7th round action. Now watch this. There's the left. That's the piston-like left. It comes in the way Liston's used to, Chris, like a lamppost. And there was Young, wavering, waffling about the ring. But Foreman couldn't capitalize. A testing round for Jimmy Young, a round that showed the courage of the fighter and the skills of the fighter. For George Foreman, a testing round too, but one that has to leave you with a negative impression because George couldn't put him away. This crowd now chanting, 8th round bell, action coming up. Foreman now knows how he can hurt Young. That much you must say. And Young now knows how Foreman can hurt him. But Young knows he can survive. And Young tries to assume the aggressor's role. Look at that right. Now he's going at George Foreman. Change of tactics, at least in the early seconds of round 8. This is the kind of fight we were expecting, hoping for. Crowd chanting, Jimmy Young, Jimmy Young, Jimmy Young. Clearly the favorite of the crowd. That's one of the things that so emotionally disturbed Foreman his whole career. What, he kept saying to himself, do I have to do to be a crowd pleaser? Why won't they give me their cheers? Round action. Waldemar Schmidt, the 3rd man in the ring. That 21-foot ring didn't hurt Jimmy Young a bit the last round, Chris. Not one bit.
Use it all, and he's been doing it.
George Foreman wanting so desperately to put Young away.
Right away!
Again, as Young continues, unafraid, unmarked for that matter. Oh, this crowd is getting its money's worth now. 8th round action. 40 seconds left in the round. With a left, another left, another. Foreman pursuing, ever pursuing, looking for the one opening, such as he had in the 7th. 10 seconds left. You see it in the lower right-hand corner. Counting down. We're going to stay with these fighters. Wild swing by George. The end of the round. It has gone 8 rounds now. Under any circumstances, let's again look at slow motion action. Let's look at Jimmy Young getting in a right and a left. This will be a closely scored fight, we think. There's the left. The right was earlier. You saw it in slow motion. Then Young tying up Foreman. He's so effective at that. This fight, Chris, is going to be very difficult to score. Jack Levin over in Jimmy Young's corner just asking, how are you scoring? How do you see it? So they're beginning to get worried. George took the 7th round, and it looked like he was going to take the fight, but he couldn't do it. How do you have it scored, Chris?
I have Young ahead because in my book he took the last 2 rounds.
9th round action.
Move it, Jimmy, move it, Jimmy.
Jimmy Young on the move. Ever pursuing, as you can see. Note the way Young covers up with those gloves in front of the face. He's a master at that. Right above us now, the sweat of the fight is pouring down on us, reminiscent of a brilliant Bob Considine description of the past when he was at ringside. Jimmy Young had a quick flurry there. Foreman looking for the kind of opening that he got suddenly from nowhere in the 7th round. But having so much trouble, you see Young covering up. Foreman hitting the fighter's gloves, the fighter's elbows. But Foreman not really hitting Jimmy Young any place where he's vulnerable. Look at Young fight back, counterpunch. Waldemar Schmidt breaks the fighters. The crowd felt right there that Foreman was manhandled. From Jimmy Young's point of view, he must stay either in too close or out too far. He must, from his point of view. From George Foreman's point of view, he must use those fists, keep them in punching position, which against a fighter as quick as Jimmy Young, he has not been doing. 9th round action.
And Howard, if he can keep this up, even though only 29 fights, he's lasted 10 rounds 7 times, once 15 with Muhammad Ali.
He has, as I have said on a number of occasions, Christopher, the Philadelphia smarts. Not the Philadelphia punch, but the cleverness. Good left by Jimmy Young. You couldn't ask for a more masterful exhibition than he gave in the 7th round when Foreman had him ready to go. How he collected himself, held together, and wound up on the attack. The end of the round coming up. 10th round, remember, this is a scheduled 12-rounder. So this is not a final round, just the 10th round. And what an interesting turn this fight has taken. Jimmy Young using every skill, using the size of the ring, keeping his poise, his self-possession, using his gloves to pick off the opponent's punches. And Foreman has not too often had his gloves in punching position. Foreman, sometimes on the verge of losing his own emotional control, quick to anger, thwarted by the referee in the early going when he kept being accused of manhandling, even at one point being penalized a point by the referee in the score. There was a good left by Foreman. There was a good left. Now Foreman trying to capitalize. 10th round action. Foreman punching wildly. Not short, direct, and crisp like they've tried to teach him, but reverting back, or so it seems to your reporter. Look at that. That is not the height of perfection. He used the strength of his body. He's been told by Clancy, his trainer, between rounds to seek to go to the midsection. That's tactic would have been far more effective earlier on in this fight because it's well known the body blows cumulatively destroy the stamina of the opponent. This is the 10th round of a 12-rounder. It's a little late. You saw how quick Young's hands were to get in there. Quick combination. Now Foreman using the strength of his body where he can. Waldemar Schmidt separating the fighters. Keep throwing the number of blows Foreman is throwing. From the awkward position he's throwing them from. And keep hitting air, empty air, the arm. Ooh, very heavy. Make no mistake about it, Jimmy Young has felt the weight of that body through 9 grueling rounds and this is the 10th. So he's a tired young man. He is a professional, this kid. You saw Jimmy with a wild right himself. So tired. Over the head of Schmidt, breaking them apart. The crowd booing George Foreman for his mauling tactics. We come to the end of the 10th round. 11, and there is puzzlement in the eyes and face of George Foreman. He really believed that he would get to Jimmy Young, and quickly. It has not happened. There's Young with a left lead, scoring. Each fighter closed the 10th round dead tired. I suspect, however, that Foreman is most tired in the arms. He's caught a lot of empty air tonight, and he's caught a lot of Jimmy Young's gloves. He's caught Jimmy Young primarily in the 7th round, when it appeared he could put him away. Master, but ultimate ring craftsmanship. Young kept himself together, covered up, stayed away when he had to, and then came back fighting, scoring with counterpunches at the end of the 7th round. Now we're in the 11th. George Foreman has rarely had to go this kind of distance. He got knocked out in the 8th by Ali, as you all know. Twice he had to go 10 rounds against Gregorio Peralta. Look at Young working to the midsection as he's in close with Foreman tied up. And then once he went 10 rounds against Levi Fortin. Same spelling as my director, who is 1/3 of Forty's size. I refer, of course, to Chet Forty. Jimmy Young growing in confidence now. He began trying to take the offense in a limited kind of way in the 9th round, having survived what he did in the 7th. Look at him, walk away, hands inside. Times Big George had to go into the 10th round, but I have no present recollection of him ever having to go into the 11th. Foreman off balance, amateurish. Jimmy Young working him over. Oh, interesting fight in terms of tactics and strategy.
All 12,000 standing with a round to go.
Ever since the 7th round, when Young survived.
And it's hot.
Foreman's eyes are bright. But somehow, you have to question the legs and arms and the stamina of this man, because he becomes a little bouncy and not quite secure on that canvas as the rounds progress. You have seen for yourself. We approach the end of this round.
Yep, he's going to have to knock him out to win.
See George Foreman being spoken to by Gil Clancy, who is really a disturbed man. Look at Clancy's face. Clancy Clancy shouting. At this point, he may figure George has to look. There's the left lead by Young, and look at that right. Right in through Foreman's guard. The arm's too tired. The hand's too tired to cover up. That's what Jimmy Young has been doing in the last 3 rounds, beginning with the 9th round.
And now hang on. Foreman wants to knock out, and I think he needs it to win.
Well, you know, I've had so many experiences, Chris, with these judges and these officials that you hesitate to call it. I have Young ahead on my call.
So do I.
12th round action. See the way Young ties Foreman up. Foreman, a tired man now. Almost receptive to it. See the way George is now bouncing on his feet? Now that's not just good foot action.
You can't punch from there either, solidly. Not George Foreman.
12th and final round. Look at Jimmy Young on the inside, scoring with combinations. Jimmy Young is a fighter after this fight. Somebody said to him at a press conference the other day, a lot of us don't think you've got the heart. He said, what do you know about my heart? He said, I do my thing in the ring. And he showed his heart tonight in the 7th round. Listen to the crowd now. They picked up the chant again. Jimmy Young, Jimmy Young, Jimmy Young.
He's tired.
Left to go in the fight. Foreman tries. Slick. Oh, knockdown. Slick.
If that's a knockdown, that'll help Young.
Wait a minute.
It's counted as a knockdown.
He counted it as a knockdown.
Right.
Debris pouring into the ring. Foreman, desperation registered in his face.
Less than a minute, Howard.
50 seconds left to go. Jimmy Young doing his thing. Still thought it was a slip, Christopher. I didn't see a clean blow. But the referee saw it as a knockdown. And so the 8th. Look at Young. Foreman with a half minute left. Holding on around the neck. George has 15 seconds left, and he appears to be in no condition to do anything. He is lumbering.
He's looking at the clock. Too late. 5 seconds.
This fight is over. And look at that crowd get to its feet. Look at Jimmy Young right above us at ringside, waving his arms aloft in what he feels is certain victory. You talk about figuring out how to fight an opponent. You talk about going into a fight with a fight plan. That's what Jimmy Young did tonight, and he made it stick from beginning to end. I'll go on record right now, Christopher. I think Jimmy Young cleanly won this fight. We'll be right back with the decision.
And here we are in that 12th and final round. George Foreman on the left and Jimmy Young on the right. That little left hand off balance, and then her high right glancing off the board. And now see if there wasn't a little bit of a shove, but he did go down. His gloves touched the canvas, and we checked with Ishmael Fernandez, one of the judges, a moment ago, and it is scored as a knockdown. Now we have to listen very closely here along with you on the scoring. The referee Vladimir Schmidt, worldwide in reputation. Ishmael Fernandez, the judge that Frank Gelb, the manager of Ronnie McGarvey, who lost on a TKO at 203 at the 6th round against the world champion was the other judge along with Cesar Ramos as we go to Howard in the ring. Howard?
All right, Chris, as usual, the bedlam scene. I'm with Jimmy Young, but we're still awaiting the official decision. Jimmy, he wants to talk to George Foreman, understandably, for just a moment. All right, as you can see, I have George and Jimmy both here. We're awaiting the decision. George, first your comment on the kind of fight Jimmy Young fought.
No comment, Howard.
No comment? Okay. Jimmy, your comment. You made your fight plan stick as you saw it.
Yes, although I got hurt real bad. I think it was the 5th round. Tell the truth, I didn't really think I was going to make it.
It was the 7th round, Jimmy.
The 7th, I don't even remember. I think it was desperation.
Desperation, you say, kept you alive. Here's the decision.
116, 112 y millón. El referee Waldemar Smith. 118, 111 y millón.
Jimmy Young has gotten a nod from two officials. Has won the fight. Jimmy Young made his fight plan stick. Jimmy, just a final word, because you've already told us that desperation enabled you to survive that 7th round. Jimmy Young with a unanimous decision. Our congratulations to you. Jimmy, Jimmy, I don't... Jim, can I have you facing the camera for 1 minute? Jim, what now? You want to get back at Ali.
I'm listening first. Keep him, Ray.
You want
yes.
Ali.
Ooh, somebody's scratching me. Please. Yes, if he wants to fight. If not, or if he doesn't return to the ring, I will fight the other top contenders. Perhaps, maybe, the winner of the Ken Norton, Dwayne Bobbitt fight. Or whoever my managers and Don King get together with.
Well, you remember once you were Norton's sparring partner for his 2nd bout against Ali. He cut you out of camp because he couldn't hit you in the head, remember?
Yes, I remember. But I got a lot of experience working with... That's where I really found out that I was, well, I won't say pretty good, a good fighter training with Ken. Because I gained a lot of experience with Ken Norton, Jerry Quard, Joe Frazier, and Muhammad Ali in 3 exhibition bouts.
Okay.
And I want to say that I'm not going to say anything negative about George because he is a good fighter in his own way because he hurt me real bad. You said it was the 7th round. And like I said, tell the truth, I didn't think I was going to make it. But it was desperation, all the talk I've been doing here and elsewhere, especially Philadelphia and Cyber Street, where I come from, North Philadelphia, 24th and Cyber.
All right,
and
Jimmy.
I'm very glad. And I don't think George Foreman is a bum after all. And George Foreman will not be easy to beat by the rest of the contenders. I won't say who he can beat, who he can't, because I don't want to disapprove the other fighters, but he's a good fighter.
Okay, our congratulations to you. You fought your fight. We made
I really think I had George hurt about 3 or 4 good times, but I still wanted to be careful because George Foreman, he throws very sneaky shots, and they're real heavy, man. Real heavy. Okay. Especially with that hook inside right here.
Hope you get your shot against Ali. Now you deserve it. The whole country knows you're a
I've been waiting a long time for this fight since December when I signed for the fight.
Take care.
I'm glad it's over. Thank you, Howard.
Again, congratulations. Good luck to you. Let's get out of this madhouse and return it to Chris Schenkel at